Hey, folks, I'll tell you what, I am with a very, very special author who's telling us about a very special story. This one's gonna tug at your heartstrings right here. It's a powerful book, and our team has been blessed to be able to work with David. And the book is called Dear Charlie: Letters to My Son. So, David, let's just jump right into it, man. This book is powerful. It's heartfelt. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, thanks, Kary. Appreciate being here and talking about Charlie. Yeah, so in October of 2021, my wife was almost 40 weeks, 37 weeks pregnant with our
Mm.
third son, and on a Monday, she just felt started have reduced fetal movement and couldn't feel him anymore, and uh, we made it to the hospital and learned very quickly that his heart had stopped.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and yeah, we had two living boys, a 5 and a 3 year old, and they had perfectly healthy pregnancies, and we didn't really know what to make of it.
Mm.
um, and uh, we, yeah, I mean, we were reeling. We were reeling. Just launched into one of those like never thought this would happen to us type scenarios and situations, and really spent, you know, still spending the time trying to figure out and make meaning of it and why did this happen and everything. And so that's what the book is about, Dear Charlie.
And
Letters I wrote. Yep.
on this point, by the way, I wanna really encourage people, if you know someone who has experienced a loss of a child, tag them right now, share this, because David is not just gonna share a sad story, he's gonna actually share about hope. And so I really wanna encourage everybody right now who's watching, tag somebody, get them over here, let's hear about this story. So, this obviously is news that no parent wants to ever
Hmm.
imagine, and this is a picture of him in the hospital.
Yep.
Wow, wow, and so I can't even imagine, man. I'm a father of 3, and wow. Let's take us
Yeah.
back to the room, if you don't mind, in terms of the whatever, just the unexpected, because I feel like, whether it's the Columbus Blue Jackets hockey player who was hit cycling
Yep.
and literally died in an instant, 2 weeks ago, or you think you're going to the hospital, to see your 3rd child. Is it 3rd? What was your 3rd child?
It was our third child. Yeah.
Yeah. You think it's gonna be a happy thing, you start getting nervous about the lack of movement,
Hmm.
and then you hear the news. How did you feel, man, like, in that moment?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the letters I specifically talk about the ultrasound machine, and just, mine was immediately of disbelief, right? Like, we're not looking at the right thing. You're not it's not functioning properly and
Yeah.
everything. And then the second thought in my mind is, oh man, my wife, right? Like, she you know she takes the brunt of this, right, as the mother. She And that's what my letters get to as well, is that she carries this with her. She carried Charlie. She has that unique experience of a mother who knows what it feels like to carry your child in you, something that us fathers carry will never know.
Yeah.
um and uh and so, yeah, so my next thought immediately was to her well-being and her health and safety and everything, and what that means for her. And I mean, we had a incredibly helpful and supportive team. Her OB, who I talk about also, was just phenomenal. Was there with us through the entire thing.
Mm.
And yeah, and then so she had to deliver him. She had to deliver Charlie, and those of you out there, those mothers also know that that's a painful experience, and that's a different experience than delivering a living child. And Yeah, I mean, just
Mm.
yeah, as you're talking about going back to that hospital room, I mean, the eerie silence of the room and the quiet of the room when
Wow.
Charlie
Mm.
was delivered is, yeah, it's startling. I mean, people, I mean, nurses, doctors, everybody was pretty much in tears as well. Yeah, when
Wow.
that happened. Yep,
Gee, okay, so this happens what year was this? 21, you said?
21. Yeah.
Yeah, not to mention everything going on with the pandemic and
Oh
the
yeah. Yep.
world and, everything. So then what? You essentially have grief, you have sorrow, you have questions. I mean, gee, I'm a former pastor. I'm wondering, like, was your faith stretched and unbelievably? Like, I don't even know, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I grew up. I'm Catholic. We're practicing Catholics. I went to Catholic high school. Again, in the letters, my sister-in-law's brother is a Jesuit priest. Went to
Mm,
high school together. Um, Played hockey with him growing up and everything. And he officiated Charlie's funeral. He was the first person in the hospital room that morning, baptized Charlie. And so you talk about like what was my response, and it was probably a typical male response, which was one of, "Hey, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to
mhm,
solve problem. We need to try to keep it together and
yeah,
everything." And when he was there with me, I just wanted to move on. I just wanted to kind of get through this and have a small funeral and everything. And he was the one who was like, "Hey, listen, our this is a this is evil. You're being tempted. You're to keep this to yourself, and
mm,
you're being challenged and tried. And we're a community of people, and you need to reach out and seek support and help and everything." And I was just super helpful from him to notice that and recognize that and to
wow,
voice that. And so, yeah, so then from there, we had the day with Charlie, and we spent the day with him, and but we also had our two boys at home that we needed to get back to, because like you said, we left and they were thinking, hey, they're going to the hospital to have the baby.
how old are
So
the
we
other
had
boys?
to, at the time they were 5 and 3. Yeah, at the time they were 5 and 3, and our 5-year-old he gets it. He gets it, and he got it um, then. And so we had to, my wife and I were coached of like, hey, how do we tell them? We got to go home and tell them and share
Yeah,
this news with them. And so, for I'm an educator. Um, my wife's a psychologist, so we have that background of child development and everything. And it was like, keep things concrete, keep things simple, answer their questions honestly and truthfully. So, we had to tell Charlie's brothers that he had died and
mm,
explain it to them and everything. And that was, I mean, that was heart wrenching as well. Um, and so then the letters came up about a month, 2 months or so, right around December. I wrote letters to my two older boys, William and Alexander. I had written letters to them um, when my wife was pregnant with them. You
wow,
know, for them to read when they get older, and be kind of cool to like, hey, I'm 30 years old, writing this to you when mom's pregnant with you and everything. And I've always been a writer. I've been a journaler. I have a writing minor in college, and I've always used writing as a way to meet, as a means to communicate and to process things. And so it was about December or so when my wife was like, "Hey, did you write any letters to Charlie? Maybe that would um, help you through this." Um, and I say this too, right? Men and women grieve differently. It's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's just different. And so my wife, you know, we're on a we're on this grief journey together, but we're also on our separate paths as well. And so just trying to figure out ways to support each other, because we also know that these things can impact marriages.
sure,
Um,
oh,
you
yeah.
know,
In fact, let's talk about that.
yeah.
Isn't the I mean, I've heard about people that have a challenge, like a child with
Hmm.
special needs. Do you have stats of how many marriages dissolve after a situation like this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not marriages. I don't have that. I mean, I know the stats on babies. It's upwards of 22,000 a year die from stillbirth. So it's
Wow.
it's pretty significant, right? It's a the number that you paint is it's a school bus of children every day.
In
And then, you know, we,
in America.
yeah, 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 yeah. And like I said, it's one of those things that like, hey, we didn't expect to be a part of, and then people just start coming out of the woodwork, right? When you hear that, I mean, our immediate next door neighbor lost their third daughter as well, and we didn't know that. We had been living there for a year, and we didn't know that. I had a really good friend who actually he's going to be our event photographer this weekend at Charlie's Challenge. He lost his son, Dominic, as well. And so yeah, so then you just start getting connected to this lost community, and we're part of that community now, and it's I mean, it's, you know, it's bittersweet to be part of that, but we're incredibly blessed and thankful to be part of that, because there are just some amazing, amazing people out there doing some amazing work to raise this awareness.
Well,
And the other stat is about of those 22,000, about a quarter of them are preventable,
really?
right? With yeah, with early recognition and with good medical care, and again, and then there's like an access equity piece, right? Women of color and families from lower income communities are obviously experience this at a higher rate. So there's an equity piece there as well.
Wow. So you start writing this book. It sounds like, is your wife's name Catherine?
Yeah. Yep.
So Catherine encourages you to start writing letters, or you had already started writing them?
No, so I'd written letters to my two older boys, but I hadn't written any to Charlie.
Wow.
And so she was wondering if it would be helpful for my process, for me grieving and me processing it. And because she said, you know, you articulate things better when you write.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and you know, to talk about my wife for a little bit, like, and the marriage thing, I mean, like I said, sometimes it goes south and everything. I mean, this, and in one of the letters, I constantly thank Charlie. I mean, my wife and I's relationship and marriage is cemented because of this. Like,
Real.
she is the toughest person that I know, going through this, and what she still goes through parenting Charlie. And we've had a fourth baby. We've had a rainbow baby, as they call it, since then. So we have a year and a half old, like a 21 month old at home. And so that whole pregnancy with her came with, you know, different kind of stress and anxieties and everything. And she's just an amazing mother, an amazing partner in this. Yeah.
So that's actually a term that they call a rainbow baby, is when you have a baby after you have a stillborn?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay. So you're kind of
You're learning a lot. You're learning a lot here.
Yeah, man. You're educating a lot of us here. So you and I chatted pre-show. I like cycling, and you mentioned this, that there's an event this Saturday.
Yep.
How cool is that though? Like, that you have a book now. I mean, what year is this for the challenge? Is this?
So this is our third year. Yeah. So the first year we, just a few of us ran the Akron Marathon. You could do it as a relay team. So we did that. My cousin, who was there with us as well through this, you know, said like, hey, you want to do this, want to train, we can exercise, we're getting older, we can also do this to keep Charlie in mind. So we ran the Akron Marathon that year, and we raised over $25,000 that year, and was just kind of blown away of like, oh, we could do this. This could be our meaning making. This could be how we find our purpose. This could be Charlie's legacy, right? This is a way to parent him still. And so then the next year we were like, well, why don't we try to put on our own thing? So last year we just had a bike ride. It was a bike ride on the Ohio Erie Canal towpath through the Cuyahoga Valley National Park outside of Cleveland. And then we had about 55 participants last year. And then this year we opened it up to a walk, a run, and a ride to get some more people in. So we have over 130 people participating on Saturday in this.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I knew I read that you were a cycler.
Yeah.
So I thought this might ring true for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. No, I ride, and I maybe in the future I can know a little bit about it in the future, or, bring some people. And but this is powerful. So it sounds
Yeah.
to me like, rather than saying, this sounds a little edgy, but I teach university, and I say that a victim says the world happens to me. And victims
Hmm.
lie in bed, blame excuses and denial. Victors say I happen to the world. They take ownership, accountability, and responsibility. I mean, I see you could have just lie down. You could have been, angry with God, and maybe you were, and that's fine. God
Yep.
can handle anger. But maybe you would have been like done with life, done with marriage, done with having kids, done with opening your heart up again, and yet you chose in the form of a book to
Hmm.
really, to me, books sometimes, as an author, they are a healing process. Was this a
Sure.
healing process for you too?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and you said right, to just go back to my wife for a second, like, you know, the next morning she was up, right? She was up out of bed. She had just delivered, right? She had just delivered Charlie and had that experience, and she's up out of bed with our boys, right? And so, like, talking about, like, being the victor. I mean, she could have, right, and it would have been completely rightfully in her place to do that, right? And if that's what you need, that's what you need. You need that time, that space. But she was up the next morning, out of bed the next morning, and was there. And yeah, so then the letters, I didn't even think of publishing them at first. I just started writing them like I had written the boys' letter. I was just kind of keeping them for myself, and then I probably there's 17 letters I wrote to Charlie, and then I wrote a last letter back to the readers, as kind of like a summation of everything.
Hmm.
So yeah, I must have gotten like 8 or 9 letters into Charlie, and just telling him stories of our day and the experience and the feelings that I was having, and everything. And uh, um, was like, hey, this could help other people, right? This experience. My wife, we both read books about loss and grief, and particularly about pregnancy loss.
Hmm.
And again, rightfully so. It's a lot of those were geared towards the mother, um, and their experience, and there just wasn't a lot out there from the father's experience. And
Wow.
so I thought that could be helpful. Um, because we're men, and we're supposed to be the ones keeping it together. We're supposed to be stoic and everything, and that's just a misconception. And I mean, Charlie has taught me so much. I've always been a pretty emotional person, but just being more vulnerable and being more emotional, he's definitely taught me that, and the letters have helped that. Yeah.
Man, I already see a guy that I'm actually gonna see a guy in Chicago on Thursday.
Mm.
He had this happen in December,
Just
and
recently.
I mean, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
we're talking in December, and, yeah, like, I think he's, you know, growing in his grief of overcoming it, but I'm thinking, "Man, I gotta get this book today."
Mm.
Like, I gotta get
Yeah.
this book. Amazon Prime. In fact, I'm looking right now, um, to try to get this book for him
Mm.
immediately, because it's, there's a book called Safe in God's Arms that, as a pastor, it was the go-to book that I
Mm.
would that I would send people, but it's not letters from a dad. By the way, you have somebody joining in from Scotland. I mean, how
Oh
crazy
wow.
is that crazy?
Hi, Maureen.
Maureen, what's up? So we know her. She's one of our authors. But I mean, this is the power of you going and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And, now I can help my friend. And now Maureen is like this, so to me, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Charlie's impact just went global.
Yeah. No, and that's what I say too. Is my line for him is that he's not here to tell his story, so we need to do it for him, right? And
Yeah.
this is his legacy. This is how we make meaning. This is how we continue to parent him. Um, And yeah, I mean, the hope is that it creates awareness. It's there as a resource, a tool for people. And there's and part of our fund, right? We quarterback money. We're not doing anything particular, or we're not. There's a number of organizations out there that are doing amazing things, providing grief services, making remembrance items,
Sure.
doing the research, doing the advocacy. And so we're just quarterbacking and raising money, and then we gift grants to those organizations, right? So
Wow.
so you can shout some of those organizations out, particularly
Yeah.
dads. There's a group that I just met called the Sad Dads Club. They're out of Maine,
Okay.
and they have a presence nationally, and also they've got some people from Canada and Europe that meet. And yeah, so there's a whole resource section on our website that you can tap into. Brooks Bereavement Bears is a local organization here out of Canton. They provide bereavement bears. We're going to raffle some of them off this weekend. We go to Cornerstone of Hope in Independence is a is a place where our boys go to therapy. They attend a grief camp every summer as well. So Cornerstone of Hope just does amazing things. Birthing Beautiful Communities was the one right here. Yeah, they are an amazing organization out of Cleveland that are particularly focusing on the community of women of color
Wow.
and pregnancy health and pregnancy loss. And they provide doulas, they provide advanced care and everything and resources for mothers. So yeah, so some organizations out there that are just doing some amazing things. Yeah.
Well, and this is a powerful website here because,
And I got to
folks,
Kara, I got to shout out Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. I got to shout them out because that's the organization that took the pictures of Charlie. So any of the pictures that you see of Charlie, they have volunteer photographers who go into the hospitals and take pictures of the family and of the baby, so that you have those items, so that you have
really,
a real picture. Yeah. So any of those black and white pictures that you see of Charlie were taken by Marty Wagner, the photographer from Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. She's a wonderful person. We've reconnected with her and met her and spent time with her.
so it's almost like, not that you ever wanted to be part of this club, but you mentioned
Yeah.
that you didn't even know your neighbor had this situation, and then all of a sudden you go through this, and now you're connected in a way that no one would have wished, but yet you're not alone.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So what do you hope happens? I mean, I know we have about 5 minutes left, but what do you hope happens from this book? Obviously, you got help in healing and grief recovery, but the book sounds like it's about ready to just fit this whole challenge that you have and this charity concept. Dads, it becomes a go-to book. I have one in my life that I can now send. What do you hope happens?
I mean, all of the work that we're doing, I mean, and the book is a piece of it, is around saving babies. I mean, the awareness piece, right? Just like letting people know that this is where, especially our medical system, especially doctors and everything, and fetal monitoring and everything is. I mean, I think that's the big piece, is right, like spreading awareness about stillbirth and pregnancy loss, and how, like I said, a lot of that can be prevented, right? So number one, like awareness and saving babies, and number two, then letting people know that they're not alone, right? You said this community. I mean, like, we're here, right? And things happen for a reason, and we have definitely done some reflection and thoughts about when we were thinking about having Charlie, and then and my wife was pregnant with Charlie, and then what happened with Charlie, and like, why did those things happen? And then it seems like all of those things have, they've led us here, for good or bad, right or wrong, bittersweet, like you said, like something that we never expected to be, but to be a part of. But yeah, I mean, our hope is just that the book can help people, and let people know they're not alone and give them some insight into how a dad is feeling and how you can still parent your children after they die. And again, it may be just not for babies and pregnancy loss, but we know older parents who lose older children, and
Oh yeah.
I mean that's
Oh yeah.
a whole different grief as well. So
Absolutely. One of our authors that comes to mind after the flowers die, and it's a hunting accident that her son passed.
mm,
So it's powerful that our team. I mean, a bunch of our team's watching this because Travis told our team, "Look, we're going to stop everything as a team and watch this today, Igniting Souls, because this is our passion to get books like yours out in the world. I mean, it's awesome to write books on coaching or speaking or these types of things, but when we can also put a book out in the world that's going to just bring hope to people, it's powerful. So
yeah.
we now, everybody's watching this has a go-to book to help dads and moms. So I think, David, just a big thank you to you.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned Travis and then Michaela also, who helped edit
Michaela,
it.
yes,
I
she
mean, they
says
were both.
her
There
copy.
she is. Yeah,
Yeah.
both of them are just were amazing to work with in this whole process. And so, thank you for
Oh yeah.
for setting this up and the conditions for people to do this. I mean, it was a great process and a great journey, and would love to just see where it goes.
Yeah, we got the whole team. We got Jill, the editor. We got Sarah, the president, was on here. Tanisha. Yeah, our whole team's just really fired up. So yeah, I'm gonna get your copy, send it to my friend for sure, and I think this is gonna be powerful. So now I know about the cycling thing, and folks, if you are in the Cleveland area, or if this is something that you want to contribute to, you also have that option too. Maybe we close with that you have actually
Yep.
a donate tab on the website, where
Yep.
if people just say, you know what, this touches me, that is what at the top here, they just click donate, correct?
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
and our fund is through a great organization, Hudson Community Foundation, located right in the town we live in. And they're wonderful people there as well that are managing Charlie's legacy and doing this work for us. So
Well, thanks, David, for all that you've done, and I'm sure a lot of people will tag this video, but Charlie's life is touching people for sure.
great. Thanks, Kary. It's great meeting you. Thanks for the work you're doing.
All right, take care, everybody. We'll see ya.